20-minute class is for runners. So you don't have to be a runner to do this class, but we're just going to be focusing a lot on lower body stretching and mobility. So that'll be into the hips, into the quads, into calves, ankles and feet. Okay, so let's begin.
Starting off in child's pose today. Knees wide, big toes touching behind, and just sinking the sit bones down towards the heels. Starting to take some little rocks side to side, massaging that third eye, massaging through the hips. Taking deep breaths here, breathing into the belly, letting it expand, pressing towards the thighs. And exhaling the belly away from the thighs. Let the hips melt towards the heels, opening into the hips, into the tops of the feet, the ankles. Slowly start to raise the head on your next inhale, coming up onto all fours. Just taking little sways with the hips side to side. Now if you do have sensitive knees, it's a good idea to use a blanket underneath the knees here. We're just going to do some little circles with the hips, going in one direction. Small circles to begin, getting bigger and bigger, opening into the hip joints, getting any cracks, any clicks, any tight spots out of the system. Also helps to increase the mobility in the knees, in the hips, in the wrists and the shoulder joints. Just taking those circles in opposite directions if you haven't already. Again, noticing any resistance, any tightness, clicks, cracks. Come back through center, looking towards the left heel, right heel, and again shaking out through the waists. Come back into your neutral spine, wrists underneath shoulders. On the next inhale, raising that right leg up, just in line with the body, toes pointing back. And then exhale, flex the foot, drawing the toes to face the mat, hips square. And then gently lowering the foot, the toes and the ball of the foot down on the mat. Press the heel in towards the back wall, using your hands to press down into the mat, leaning back, stretching out through that right calf muscle. Come back through center. Right knee back on the mat, you can shake it out. We're coming straight to the other side now. This time inhale the left leg, toes point back first, squeezing through your glutes and the thighs. And then exhale, flex the foot, toes pointing towards the mat, squaring off the hips. Starting to feel that stretch through the calf, through the ankle. And then lower the toes, lower the ball of that foot down on the mat, and press that heel away from the body towards the back wall. Stretching through that left calf muscle, and then come back through center. So coming into a toe stretch here, tucking the toes underneath the heels, sinking the sit bones towards the heels, and just sitting down here. And this is a really important stretch, to stretch back into the metatarsals of the toes, also the soles of the feet and the ankles. So while we're here, we'll just interlace the fingers, roll out the wrists, and then interlace the fingers behind your back. Draw the shoulder blades together, puffing up through the chest, opening the chest, the shoulders, looking forward, all up with the head. Feeling that expansion in the belly and the chest with your breath. And then exhale, gently release. So by now your toes might be feeling a little bit numb. So coming out, take it really, really slow and just gently wriggle fingers, toes, ankles, bringing the circulation back into the feet. You can roll the ankles out. Okay, from here, going to come into our downward facing dog, tucking the toes under, pressing the hips up towards the sky, taking some little rock side to side with the hips. Bend your knees as much as you need to send the hips high, chest towards the thighs, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Inhale, let's raise the heels up, and exhale, press the heels down towards the mat. 2 more times. Inhale to raise the heels up. You can bend the knees slightly if your hamstrings are tight. And exhale, press the heels down, opening through the heels, the Achilles. 1 more inhale. And exhale, feeling that stretch right down through the calf muscles, through the heels, through the ankles. You can stay here in down dog, or inhale your right leg up towards the sky, and exhale, press that left heel down towards the earth. Stay in 3-legged down dog, or start to stack your right hip over the left, opening the hips. Stay here, or start to bend that top knee, drawing the heel towards the buttocks. Coming into a bit of a glute stretch, opening through that right hip flexor. Reverse the path, so inhale to straighten that right leg. Square off the hips. And let's step that right foot forward between the hands. Dropping the back knee down, shuffle your front foot forward until the knee and the heel are in a straight line. Now using your 2 blocks here if you need. Just choosing which setting, which height you might need them on. Remembering that you don't have to use blocks, you can use some books or stools, any other props that you have at home. Sink the hips low, opening into that left hip flexor. Keeping the shoulders open, collarbones broad. Coming into this crescent lunge, half crescent lunge. Now we'll come into that full crescent lunge, so lifting that back knee off the mat. Just light on the blocks and maybe just rocking forward and back along the ball of that back foot. Opening into the hip joints, but also massaging the ball of that back foot. Stay longer or drop back down onto the back knee. You can choose to just stay right here. We're going to come into a twist now. So inhaling the right hand up towards the sky. And exhale, draw that right shoulder back, peeling the chest open. You can just stay in this twist, this revolved half crescent lunge. Or coming into our dreaded quad stretch, bending through that back knee. Reach back with the right hand and grab a hold of the foot. Keep checking in with how your knee is feeling. If you ever feel any pain at all in the knee, make sure you pull back. Otherwise, use your breath, exhale to draw the heel a little closer towards the buttocks. Stretching out through that left quad. Reverse your path. And coming into our half split, so stretching out through that right leg. Move your blocks back, change the height if you need. Drawing the toes back towards the face. Inhale the spine long, and then exhale, hinging from the hips, fold forward. Remembering that you can bend through that front knee, especially if you're feeling a lot of tension through that hamstring or the back of that knee. Use your chest to guide you. Maybe you could step your hands a little further forward, fold a little further forward over the legs. Try not to let the back round too much here. Come back into that lunge. Move your blocks aside for now. Press down into the mat with your hands. Bring the hands to the inside edge of the foot this time. And we're coming to the outside edge of that right foot. Just letting the knee drop out towards the side. Getting more to the outside edge of the hips, of the quad, of the hamstring here. Try to keep the shoulders relaxed. Noticing if you're unconsciously just holding onto a lot of tension there, straining. Move back through center. This time we'll tuck the back toes under and step the right foot all the way back to down dog. Shake the hips side to side, noticing the difference between the left and right. You could walk the feet out, taking any wriggles, any shakes that you need. And then coming to the other side. So this time inhale the left leg up. Keep the hips square and then press that right heel down towards the mat, stretching through that calf and the hamstring. Stay here in this three-legged down dog. We'll start to stack the hips, bringing the left hip over the right, opening the belly towards the left side of the room, maybe bending that top knee, drawing the heel towards the buttock, stretching through that hip flexor, through the quad. Gently reverse your path, bend the knee, and then lightly step the foot forward between the hands, coming into the half crescent lunge on this side now. Lowering down to that back knee. Shuffle your front foot forward and use your blocks. Finding this half crescent lunge, this opening through that right hip flexor this time. Collarbones broad, shoulders back and down. And exhale to sink a little lower into your lunge. Breathe. Use the breath to guide you. This can be really tight if you do a lot of running and not a lot of pre or post warm-up, cool down. But even if you do a lot of sitting in an office, sitting in a chair all day. So tuck the back toes under, start to rock forward and back, massaging along the ball of that back foot, into the hip joints. And you can stay a little bit longer. We'll start to lower back down onto the back knee. Let's come into that twist, revolved half crescent lunge. Inhale to lift the left arm, fingertips up towards the sky, and exhale to draw that left shoulder back. Stay for the twist or come into your quad stretch. If you can't quite reach your foot or your ankle, remember you can use a strap or a towel to grab a hold of that foot. Check in with how your knee is feeling. If it's okay, then start to press that heel down towards the buttocks. Slowly releasing that back foot. Straightening through that left leg and coming into a half split. Walking your blocks back, flexing that front foot. Hinging from the hips, inhale to lengthen through the waist and the spine, and exhale to fold forward. Remembering you can bend the knee, even if it's just a slight micro bend, making sure we're not locking out through that knee joint. Walk your blocks, your hands out as much as you can, making sure we're not rounding the spine too much. Chest keeps reaching forward. Coming back into that lunge and bringing the hands to the inside edge of that left foot this time. Open to the edge of that left foot, letting the left knee drop out towards the side. Keep sinking the hips low. Trying to relax the shoulders. Relax the head and the neck. Opening through the outside edge of that hamstring, of the hip. And come back through center now. This time you might like to come into your child's pose or through a tabletop or back to your downward facing dog. Just any sort of pose, any position where you can shake the hips out, releasing any tension in the hips. And then we'll all meet back eventually in child's pose. Bringing the hands underneath the head to support the head like a pillow. Rocking gently side to side, knees together, releasing the hips, breathing into the hips. Slowly sitting up, sitting to one side, and just shuffling forward now, lying down onto our backs. But before we do so, we're going to come into our butterflies, so you might like to take a bit of time to just set up here. With the blanket, we're actually going to use it to cover the hips and the thighs today. So just opening the blanket out as much as you need to do this. Use the blocks either underneath the knees, or you might like to adjust them underneath the thighs. We're going to stay here for our final rest today, so making sure you're actually comfortable. If the blocks are too hard, you can use some more blankets underneath the thighs. And the function of the blocks there is just to support the thighs a bit. And so the hips don't kind of overstretch here. Just a gentle opening into the hips to complete our practice. Using the weight of the blanket on the hips, on the inside thighs, for more of a grounding sensation. Hands on the belly. Once again, just feeling the rise and fall of the belly with every in-breath and out-breath. Scanning the body and just noticing how the body's feeling now. Any last bits of tension in the legs? They start to wriggle fingers and toes, maybe raising the arms overhead, stretching out through the armpits and the shoulders and the chest. When you're ready to come out, just extending the legs along the mat. Big stretch of the fingers and the toes, pointing out in opposite directions. In your own time, start to sit all the way back up. Whatever way feels most natural. It could be rolling to one side first and then sitting up. Hands to prayer. Just one last deep breath here. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Namaste.